Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Buryatia in Russia. Buryatia, as you can see, it's located in eastern Russia, kind of southeastern Russia. You can see it borders Mongolia here, which is very important to its history and culture too. But you can see the biggest geographic feature from here, and that is Lake Baikal. I think Lake Baikal is one of the most fascinating places on the planet. It is not only the biggest freshwater lake by volume. It has something like 1/5 of the world's fresh water in it. It is the world's deepest lake, and I'll flash a little picture up here comparing the deepness of Lake Baikal to the Great Lakes in the US and Canada. It's extremely deep, and it's actually getting deeper. That is because Lake Baikal is actually a trench or a fissure in the earth. Place where Earth's crust is ripping apart like this. It's getting deeper and deeper and deeper, right? So it's a big trench in the earth filled up with water. It's also the world's oldest lake, which is crazy to think about. Once upon a time, this was all ocean, right? And as the waters receded, all of that, the water remained here in this big gap in the earth. These seals that swam around in the ocean remained and became freshwater seals. And it's the only place in the world where you can find purely freshwater seals. There are some places in Finland, I believe, that have seals that live in freshwater, but these are completely inland, no ocean in sight. They live in this lake. You saw them in the intro to this video. There's just so many fascinating facts about Lake Baikal. It also freezes over in the winter. We'll see some of that on Google Earth. There's so many interesting facts about Lake Baikal. And it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So let me slide over my tablet. Oops. Of course, I hit the wrong button. There we go. I accidentally exited out of it. Let's read about Lake Baikal. I love Lake Baikal. It says, situated in southeast Siberia, the 3.15 million hectare Lake Baikal is the oldest by 25 million years and deepest by 1,700 meters lake in the world. It contains 20% of the world's total unfrozen freshwater reserve. Said it better than I did. Known as the Galapagos of Russia, its age and isolation have produced one of the world's richest and most unusual freshwater faunas, which is of exceptional value to evolutionary science. So here's the beautiful lake. I think we can see some seals in this picture, can we? Or is it just a big rock? Oh no, there's seals. Look at them, all blobby, floppy. So cute. Yep. Freshwater seals. The only place in the world you can find purely freshwater seals. Fascinating. Of course, we'll look more on Google Earth at Lake Baikal. I can talk about Lake Baikal all day. But this area also has some other beautiful geography, including mountains. You can see, I hope you can see right here, the Sayan Mountains cut into here. Over here is the Yablonovo Mountains. There it is, Yablonovo Mountains. All along here. Up here we can have the Stanovoy Highlands. I believe Stanovoy Highlands. Very, very mountainous up there. Where is it? The Vitim Plateau is within this area. You see the Vitim River here? I thought there was a thing that said Vitim Plateau, but I just see the river. Oh well. I'm among others. It's very mountainous, but in between the mountains, especially around here, around the rivers, is Mongolian steppe, which steppe regions, you can find them famously in Mongolia, Kazakhstan, down to Ukraine, are pretty much just wide, open, flat areas going as far as the eye can see. This is pretty much as far north as you can get in the Mongolian steppe until you hit Siberia and the taiga forests and all of that. We have the Selenga River coming up, I believe here, because there's Selenginsk, meeting the Uda River, right? Yeah, the Uda, culminating here at Ulan-Ude, the capital of Buryatia, which means red Uda. Which, if you know your world capitals, you already know that Ulan means red because of, down here, can you see? I hope so. Ulaanbaatar means red hero. Ulan meaning red. I think that segs us right into the culture here, the Buryat culture, which has been here for an incredibly long time. Now, Lake Baikal really separates the Buryat culture into two. And over history, there was some cultural divide because of the space between the lake. Over here in the west, they became more like Russianized, I suppose, more Western, more settled, whereas in the east, they became more nomadic, Mongol-style culture. This area was actually part of the Mongolian Empire between the 13th and 17th centuries. Prior to that, it was ruled over various Chinese and Turkic powers before the Mongols came in. So yeah, the Buryat people are Mongoloid with a lot of the same customs and traditions and ways of life as the Mongols, including religion. You know, you think of the Mongols, you think Genghis Khan and vicious invaders, all of that, you know. But in the, 15th, 16th century, they got really into Buddhism and went really, really hard on Tibetan Buddhism. And that is still the majority religion practiced here, especially by the Buryats, right? A very large part of their culture here. In the 17th century, the Russians really started to move into this area. They could find gold here, as well as lots of good furs. And they established this town here in the year 1666. They called it Udinskoye. And it was mainly used as a trade hub between the Chinese, the Mongol peoples here, and Russia. And it was also a good wintering camp for those who were here to mine or hunt or trade. This area, became pretty important to the Russians because of that. And when the Russian Empire wants to take over a place, they will do anything. They will stop at nothing to take over that place. In order to do that, the Russian government in the year 1741 recognized Buddhism as one of the official religions of Russia. Therefore, it was pretty easy to annex this region in the year 1783. They changed the name of this now town to Verkhnudinsk. And it was just kind of like a little backwater quiet place until the year 1900. In that year, the city became a stop on the Trans-Siberian Railroad, the world's longest railroad line. And that brought in many Russians moving into the area here and really started to build up the town. Now, not long after that, the Russian Empire would collapse in the Russian Revolution in 1917. This area here thought, well, we could start to, become our own thing. And it was a couple of different republics trying to sort itself out. It was the Republic of Buryatia in 1923, but by that time the Bolsheviks had taken over Russia, created the USSR, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, and very much wanted Buryatia back as one of those republics. It was a bit hard since this area had become quite independent, so it became an autonomous region within the USSR. In order to comply with the policies of the USSR, which included an atheist belief, no religious prominence at all, in the 1930s, many Soviet soldiers, Soviets in general, came through and destroyed all of the Buddhist temples, stupas, monasteries, what have you. Completely destroyed them in a way to rework this area. They renamed the town to Ulan-Ude in 1934. And I guess as a show of good faith, in 1945, they built a big Buddhist temple compound just outside the city. And that was the only Buddhist structure in all of the USSR that was allowed to operate. Of course, the USSR would not last till the end of the century. It would collapse by 1991. This area was able to retain its semi-autonomous government after the Russian Federation was created out of the ashes of the USSR. And it still is today. I don't think it's as autonomous as some other areas of Russia, but nevertheless it is still considered a semi-autonomous region, which is pretty cool, I think. And yeah, that is the history of Buryatia. Today mostly known for tourism here at the lake, known for its culture and religion and customs, ways of life, festivals, food, things like that, cultural stuff. And yeah, it's not the most built up, prosperous corner of Russia, because it's very much like a little Mongolia, a little Russified Mongolia. Very sparsely populated, big wide open areas, but with the beautiful mountains and trees, and of course, Lake Baikal. So with that being said, why don't we hop over to Google Earth, and oh boy, are we going to look at Lake Baikal. Let's check out this area on Google Earth. Here we are in Buryatia. But of course, let's start by zooming out so you can see exactly where we are in the world. Russia is the world's biggest country, stretching all the way over to Eastern Europe and Finland up here, almost at Scandinavia. Down along, it's always like Central Asia, I guess to call it. All the way across to the Pacific. That was like a terrible explanation of Russia, but here we are. I guess like we're not really talking about Russia. Like Russia is over here. It's gone. It's not there. St. Petersburg is here. Chelyabinsk is here. It's Kazan, but there's Moscow. Okay, that to me, that's like Russia is over here. This is a whole other something else. Way over here. Still Russia, but not Russia, if you know what I'm trying to say. Not really Russian culture, but still technically Russia. We're going to start in Ulan-Ude. As much as I'm like itching to go to Lake Baikal, we got to start in the town, right? In the capital city. Here's Ulan-Ude. You can see the two rivers meeting there. I don't know why it's called the Red Ude. It's not very red, but it's probably left over from communist times, right? Since they changed the name in the 1930s. Alright, so we have to head down here. remember where it is exactly. The main, like, red square. Right here. So this is Vladimir Lenin. Where'd he go? There he is. You can see a shadow there. This is, are you ready for this? This is the largest statue of Lenin's head in the world. Dun, dun, dun. Attack on Titan, eat your heart out. He's coming for you. The biggest Lenin head in the world. Yeah, there it is at Christmas time, all beautiful, of course. But yeah, there he is. Big old Lenin. My stomach's growling. Beautiful ice sculptures here, all snowy, of course. Technically, we're in Siberia by definition. But it's wonderful at Christmas time or winter time, you know. Cool ice festival here, all under the imposing gaze of Vladimir Lenin. I mean, it's not every day you see the world's biggest Lenin head, huh? Can't say that about too many places. Let's see what else is over here I need to show you. I guess we could look at the museum here. Let's see some cool artifacts here. Some neat old Buddha artifact statues. Clothing, look how beautiful. Look at this, like, mask, helmet. Incredible. Some topographical maps there, and lots of neat little artifacts. The inside of a yurt. You know me, I love a good yurt. I wish I lived in a yurt. That to me is goals. Travel around, just pick up your house, get your sword. That's the dream for me. Or at least one of my many dreams. And let's see this one. History Museum. Got some more goodies here from times past. Furniture. Some old cameras. Look at that. That's pretty cool. There's a guy. I can sit with him. Neat old soldier uniform. We got some cool keys. I wonder what those would open. What this city used to look like once upon a time. One big fort there. A dragon. Butterflies and just bugs. Pretty neat. Wow, that's a cool map of Russia. Ooh, very old-timey. Look at northern Siberia up here. It's all big. I guess that's the ocean, isn't it? Those like ships. That's pretty cool. Very, very neat. Is there anything else I wanted to show you in town that's like you have to see? Not really. I mean, there are some other things that I was reading about, but I don't think they're tagged. And so when I tried searching for them, I couldn't find them at all. So unfortunately, we're going to miss out on some stuff. What was this? Some forest up here. It's snow times. You know, we are still technically in Russia, so it's quite cold. Some radishes. I'm allergic to radishes. I was on an airplane, and they were giving out little snack packs. I was like, oh, cool. And there are radishes in it. And I was like, you know what? I've never actually eaten a radish in my whole life. I realized, like, whoa, I've never eaten a radish. This is my chance. And I popped that radish, and it tasted like I had lit a match and just put it in my mouth. And I was like, tears streaming down my face. I'm choking, coughing, and I'm looking at everyone like, why isn't anyone else? Is this just what radishes taste like? It's awful. It's so painful. Gosh, it felt like I just like dumped pepper straight down my throat. And then it took me a while to realize, like, oh, I think I'm allergic to radishes. I don't think this is what they're supposed to taste like. And that's my radish story. Sorry for the tangent. Let's talk about Ulan-Ude. Anything else I need to show you that's in town? Because there's things I need to show you outside the town. It's Lenin again. beautiful churches, of course. And, yep, it's a big bustling town today. Not like a major metropolis, but for the region, it's massive. Many, many people in this area stopped becoming nomadic in the 1930s, 1940s, and moved into town once industry became a big thing in the Soviet Union. So almost everyone who lives in Buryatia lives in Ulan-Ude. Yeah, that nomadic culture is kind of not a thing anymore. What I need to show you is kind of hard to find. So I've got it tagged in here. So I can show you. See, it's way up there. This is the Buddhist temple complex that the Soviets built for the people here. And it's where the Lama of the region and all of the high-ranking Buddhist priests live and work and pray. And it's beautiful, isn't it? Look at all those colors. Like every color of the rainbow. We just covered Bhutan not long ago, and we were in Thailand earlier this week looking at the Wats and the temples there, and they're so old and beautiful, and you look here and they're made of brick. It's very recent. It's a little different, doesn't it, when it's been purposefully built in the modern age. It's a little strange, but it still retains that kind of whimsy that you find at these kinds of temples. That just raw beauty, that wow factor. Very cool. There aren't a lot of pictures here. I was watching tourist videos of people going around and showing stuff, and that was really neat, but there's really nothing tagged here. So you have to take my word for it. But yeah, everything else is just mostly farm towns and things like that. Let's head out to the lake. Let's go. The moment has come. I think this national park is within the borders. I think it's in Irkutsk as well. I think. Let me see what it says. It doesn't say. Buryatia. Perfect. So you can see some of the big mountains here in the panhandle of this region. And of course it's stunning, isn't it? It is beautiful. There's a big old blue Buddha there. Because of course since the end of that oppression during the Soviet times, they've rebuilt a bunch. Look at all the mountains in the distance. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. Yeah, a lot's been rebuilt since then. So there's still lots of amazing places to see and worship. He's playing his flute there. Gorgeous. So yeah, those are those mountains. Here we are at Lake Baikal. Gosh, where should we start? It's so fascinating. I want to come to this lake so bad. I feel like I'll come to Buryatia someday because I have to go to Lake Baikal somehow, some way. This island here. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you. This island. First of all, I think this only has like one picture, but that's pretty cool. You can see all the ice. So the satellite here took this photo in the winter because you could see the lake frozen over in this image. Isn't that great? But then the satellite took this photo in the not winter time when it's melted. But here it is in the winter time, all completely frozen over. Isn't that something? There's a neat story about, because I could talk about it all day. What's the Nerpa? Oh my gosh, that's the seals. There they are. Okay. There's a story that during the Russo-Japanese War, which was very early in the 1900s, like 1904, getting troops from like St. Petersburg, Moscow to Japan was kind of a lot. Russia's big, so they hastily built a railroad, and instead of going around Lake Baikal, the lake was frozen over, they built the tracks on the lake, which is not the brightest idea that the Russians have ever had, is it? Because of course that ice melted, and there are a couple trains at the bottom of Lake Baikal because of that. Whatever lake do you know has trains at the bottom of it? Tell me another, right? Look at those seals. So cute. How neat is that? The nerp. We've got some green areas here. Those are certainly some long words there. But look at that beautiful lake, Lake Baikal. Oh, someday I'm going to be standing right here. Let Lake Baikal wash over my feet. Not think about how deep it is. Here it is all frozen. I try not to feel that sense of dread that this lake is the deepest in the whole wide world. But just take in this wonder. Wow. But yeah, there's all kinds of life that really only exists here. Look at this ice cave. So cool. Because of just that geographic isolation, right? Kind of like the seals. All kinds, like it said, it's like a Galapagos. There's just forms of life here that you can't find anywhere else because all these creatures and plants have stuck to the lake and never spread out. Here's this beautiful ecosystem today. It's absolutely fascinating. Very cold though, I bet. I imagine this water's absolutely freezing cold. Like colder than, I can't even imagine how cold it must be. This town is within our borders right here, stretching down here. More mountains over here. Let me see this town here, this little lakeside town. Let's see if we can see some more cool lakeside stuff. Yeah, look at that. Oh, it's so gorgeous. I'm so jealous if you've been to Lake Baikal. Tell me all about it if you have. I want to hear your stories about Lake Baikal so much. Or if you want to drop more facts, because there's more facts, there's more cool stuff about Lake Baikal, drop them in the comments. Ooh, I bet you this pool is super hot. I bet you. I bet you they do. Polar bear dips, little banyas or something in this. I bet you there's lots of banyas around here, which is like a Russian sauna bath. Let me get the borders back up just in case so we don't get lost up in these mountains. Buryatia, please. Thank you. Because we're going to look at some mountains up here. I don't want to get over the border. Let's see. How beautiful. Let's look at this. Any pictures? All right. This desolate Siberian north. Cold and frozen over. The taiga stretching, the world's biggest forest. Stretching out across it. Evergreen. And there's something kind of mysterious about Siberia, isn't there? I mean, there's lots of like spooky stories about Siberia. Dyatlov Pass and the Tunguska event, all that, but there's something a little like, there's mysteries out here, right? Things like that. But like I said, if you come a bit south, you can really see, like you can see the Mongolian steppe here, stretching up into this area, right? Our region here. Just a bit. Enough that that Mongol culture just bled over into this area. Separate today, but not so once upon a time. I'm going to find like one more slideshow to show you, which I think we should do it at the lake, because when else am I going to get to talk about Lake Baikal, right? It's a neat area down here. Look at this. This big mountain rising up over the lake with this like, almost like an isthmus, right? Peninsula. Let's see if this has anything. Unfortunately, it does not. How sad is that? Anything cool over here? This is so neat. Just this big old mountain along Lake Baikal. Nope. Because people don't come here. I mean, you can see why. But kind of shows you just how big this lake is, right? Because look at these mountains. You can see all the trees. Can you see them? All this beauty, and you just scroll and think, wow, these mountains go on forever, but it is a fraction the size of this lake. It's so big. Let's look at this town. Maybe this will be our last slideshow at Ust-Barguzin. I think it will be. Let's end it here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this style of content, please consider subscribing. We're going to have a lot of fun on Google Earth tomorrow too, because we are going to South Korea. First in this long series I'm doing in South Korea. And we're going to see some neat stuff there. We're going to see some more temples. We're going to see a beautiful beach, more mountains, and maybe a K-pop star or two. So be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. Please don't forget to like this video and let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational. And I hope that you have a good night. Good night.